Today, I want to talk about how another country is banning short selling and investigating synthetic short selling, and whether the US could be next. I also want to talk about the giant total return swap that's just been discovered, and also explain exactly what might be going on. So stay tuned and let's make some money. And now I'll dive straight in with the key information. So, first it was South Korea, and now Thailand is the latest country, or the latest stock exchange, to restrict short selling. Frank tweeted saying the Thai Stock Exchange is also investigating potential synthetic short selling offences. It says a specialist committee has been established in Thailand designed to delve into the issue of synthetic short selling. The team will comprise representatives from the Korean Exchange and the Nasdaq Stock Exchange, brought in to aid Thai regulators. Now, I'm not sure if bringing in representatives from the Nasdaq, or specifically the SEC, is the right way to go about stopping synthetic short selling, but getting representatives from Korea is absolutely the right move. And hopefully those Korean representatives can teach the US SEC a thing or two about stopping synthetic short selling. It says that brokers are already being called upon to present evidence demonstrating that their clients genuinely borrowed stocks from custodians. Furthermore, brokers who failed to provide adequate evidence or are discovered to have breached regulations in concert with a client could be subject to disciplinary action, and furthermore they may face legal repercussions if found to have contravened the SEC's act. So actually may face US punishment for synthetic short selling committed in Thailand. It also says the SEC, as in the US SEC, is asking the Stock Exchange of Thailand to impose pricing rules for short selling, while the SEC examines potential synthetic short selling. As I said, I'm not sure if getting the US SEC in to investigate synthetic short selling is the right idea, but it's setting more of a precedent worldwide, until hopefully the SEC has no choice but to get involved as well and either ban short selling or do more against synthetic short selling. Now, speaking of additional regulation or additional lawsuits, Farmland Partners is taking on Seeking Alpha in court for shorting and distorting. Obviously, Seeking Alpha has a long history of shorting and distorting stocks like AMC, GameStop and other meme stocks, and tons of other stocks out there too. And Farmland Partners is fed up, they've had enough, and they're taking on Seeking Alpha in court. Again, I hope the outcome of this lawsuit also sets more of a precedent onto what these mainstream media outlets can and can't post, and hopefully makes them more responsible for these shorting and distorting campaigns. But let's also talk about this giant equity swap or total return swap that I believe was first discovered by G-Man. He tweeted about the equity swap from the 3rd of March 2021 that's expiring on the 15th of December 2023. He said the current price of that swap from this screenshot is $999.9 billion. You can see here this giant equity swap, which is also a basket swap, not just a total return swap against one specific company, has an expiration date of the 15th of December 2023. The total price of the entire swap is $999 billion, with each unit being around 15 cents or 0.15 of a euro. He said, so our kohrs goes bust due to equity swaps or total return swaps on companies like GameStop, AMC and others, and then Credit Suisse goes down after the buyout of our kohrs too. And said, guess who's dying after the buyout of Credit Suisse as well? As I covered in my video last week, UBS, who are now also struggling as well. Maybe it's due to this $999 billion total return swap against an entire basket of stocks. I'm not actually sure if this is a default price or like a glitch price or just a specific highest amount that can be entered into their system just to govern the entire basket of swaps. I'm not 100% sure what's going to happen when this specific swap expires, or if there's just loads of little swaps inside this big swap that all expire on the 15th of December. For example, I don't know if this is specifically the swap itself, or if this is just a basket of swaps holding tons of smaller swaps inside. But I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens over the next 2 to 3 weeks and exactly what happens to this specific swap. I also wanted to quickly recap today's fast-moving momentum news play from the Millionaire Mindset Trading Group. That play was BDRX, or Biodexa Pharmaceuticals. I posted at 2 UK time or 9 market time saying BDRX has just run to a pre-market high of $4.59 on good volume and with news too. If it can hold over $4.59 for our confirmation, I'm buying. You can see it then broke through that $4.59 pre-market high and continued to run upwards in the pre-market. Then when the market opened, it continued that run further into multiple halts. And I also posted at 9:43 market time saying BDRX rockets up to $7.44. I said it's likely going into another halt and that I wouldn't be buying any new shares here, only selling if you're still holding. BDRX did actually continue running today for a total gain of 91.69%. We're still holding that Thanksgiving sale for just a few more days. If you join this week, I'll refund next month's payment, so you're currently getting around 5 weeks for the price of 4. Something I also found very interesting was this FUD article from BANS about the Swiss central bank selling their AMC shares. Crystal Ball exposed this fake news story from BANS because, as you can see, the Swiss National Bank or the Swiss Central Bank hasn't sold their shares of AMC, which is this second line down. They've actually added 188,000 shares. They have actually sold AMD shares though. If you look down here at the bottom line, AMD, they sold 632,000 shares of AMT but added to AMC. So this is actually FUD, and they haven't slashed AMC stake. They've actually increased their AMC stake, but they have sold Apple, Nvidia, Tesla, AMD and others. And that actually I find very interesting. Why have they sold tons of stocks that are running up at the moment, like Nvidia, Apple and AMD? Why are they converting more of their portfolio to cash instead of holding these great names? Why are they selling off shares like AMD, Nvidia and Apple to buy more AMC? Obviously just speculating, but maybe they see something around the corner, or they themselves are struggling and need more cash to stay afloat. I also saw this tweet from Chris Rose, who's running for the Senate, and I think it's a brilliant tweet and we should absolutely be supporting Chris. You can see here Chris Rose is a Senate candidate who tweeted saying AMC has had positive net cash flow for the past 2 quarters and has overwhelmingly beat the earnings estimates for the previous 4 quarters. Saying there is zero justification for the stock price of AMC to be this low. Naked shorting is illegal, however hedge funds have been using this tactic to destroy companies for profits for decades. Saying I, along with many others, have provided members of Congress with more than enough evidence to justify taking action. Saying I challenge our elected representatives to do their job and fight for fair markets for their constituents. This is absolutely what we've been aiming for the last few years now, and I personally believe we should really support Chris in his run as a Senate candidate. And finally, I also wanted to touch on just how great AMC is actually doing this year, especially compared to the previous few years. If you filter for a year-to-date comparison through January to the end of November for the last few years, you can see the revenue at the box office has increased dramatically. From $2 billion in 2020 to $3.4 billion in 2021 to $6.5 billion in 2022 to now $8 billion at the box office in 2023 year to date. There's still over a month left for the box office to continue pushing and for AMC to continue generating more revenues. This is so far lining up to be another quarter, the 4th quarter, where we beat revenue expectations again, we beat profits, and we beat positive cash flow too. But guys, be sure to let me know what you think down in the comments below. And as always guys, be sure to ding that notification bell, because that way you'll be alerted when I upload a new video. Cheers.